The Meat.
Welcome back from the break. This is Mostly Superheroes. I'm your host, Logan, back here in the studio from the break with Scotty Scoop and the Giggler, warmed up and ready to go to talk about the meat. The chunk, the sizzle. It's why we're here. It's why you're here. And we cannot wait to talk about this bust-out series about a character that has just recently made his theatrical debut, now has his own TV series, not only out there, but on HBO Max, and written and directed by a St. Louis legend. You know him. It's James Gunn. That's right, folks. We're talking about Peacemaker. Talking season 1, and we're going to do it like we did with the Book of Boba Fett. Something we're bringing into the show is giving a little background where you need it. Basically, nobody knew about this guy. I didn't know about him. I don't think Giggler knew about him. Mm-hmm. Scotty, who is our resident comic book fan, unless unless you ask Aaron out there, that also the Giggler, but you hadn't read any Peacemaker comics.
Crisis on Infinite Earths is the only exposure I ever had to Peacemaker.
And at the time, you probably didn't think anything.
Nothing.
You're just some guy in the background.
Yeah.
So I thought it'd be just real quick, before we get into the show, before we talk about the Suicide Squad, quick history on the characters, super brief. Big shout out there to Looper, always doing great recap videos. And also, this was a nice video they did, the history of DC's Peacemaker Explained, written by Alex G. I'm going to read straight from the article here. Who is Peacemaker? Basically, he's a poke in the eye to both the countercultural movement of the 1960s and the military establishment. The central idea of Peacemaker is that he's an incredibly devoted pacifist, so committed to the cause, in fact, that he's willing to hurt countless people in order to achieve it. We are familiar with this. We've heard this. And he actually made his debut back in 1966, I believe. If it wasn't his debut, it may have been around the time that DC Comics picked up the property, which they had. And he was in a Forgotten Fightin' 5 series. And then he actually had his own comic book that only went for 5 issues. So it was pretty quick. In 1993, in an attempt to stop the evil plans of the villain Eclipso, Peacemaker crashes his helicopter into the villain's tanks, dying, or so it seems, in a fiery explosion. So that was 1993. And then getting to more recent runs, has anybody here heard of the Multiversity?
No.
Scott?
I do believe that's a pretty recent event.
Yeah, this is like 2014, it looks like.
Yeah.
Multiversity. Another chance for comic book creator legend Grant Morrison to get weird as all get out. This titan of modern comics writing brings his spacey spirituality and time-bending antics to all kinds of titles. So this is where they had a DC multiverse put into the entirety of the DC canon, and Peacemaker was part of this run as well. You had other people in there that, Superman was in there, Animal Man. And now, with all the hoopla, with the character being in movies and TV shows again, he is actually back actively in the comics.
Yeah, Suicide Squad.
The Suicide Squad, 2021, relaunched with Christopher Smith, and a new version of Task Force X. So you diehard comic book fans out there, you guys are probably aware of this. But let's talk about the movies. Talk about the TV show, because in 2021, a really fun movie came out. You might remember it. Andy, I think we saw it twice within 3 days. It was The Suicide Squad. This was the reboot. James Gunn picked up the film that originally had come out in 2016 or 17?
Yeah, I think that's about
16.
Right.
And rebooted the whole film, brought back a ton of characters, Amanda Waller, Rick Flag. You got new characters like Ratcatcher 2, spoiler alert for that movie, Idris Elba coming in as Deathstroke. Right, Deathstroke?
Oh my God.
Deadshot?
Deadshot. No, Deadshot was
my
Will
God.
Smith.
Is it Deathstroke? No, Deathstroke is orange.
Is
orange and black. He's got the half orange, half black.
Slade Wilson.
And it's not Deadshot, is it?
What? This is a common misconception here. So
we're not alone.
I'm coming right up.
Also,
you're the expert, Andy.
And Andy's looking it up. Let's make sure we get it right.
Bloodsport.
Had the great mask, had all the great guns. And then another character that we meet for the very first time in the Suicide Squad movie is John Cena as Peacemaker. Andy, you're a wrestling fan. You're diehard John Cena. You couldn't believe it. And then after the crazy success of this movie, we find out that James Gunn's bringing 8 episodes of a show only about this character to HBO Max. They're here. They've come out. The full series is out. Spoiler alert for the film. You might have heard of it by now. I hope so. If you haven't seen it, go out and watch it. Come back and listen to us. It came out on January 13th, 2022, exclusively on HBO Max. 8 episodes, unconfirmed, $10 million per episode. And when I say unconfirmed, it's because, guys, I looked for 2 hours.
Wow.
And if you, Andy, get out your phone and see if you can find it, because it seems like they don't want you to know.
Yeah.
This is like a thing that was not easy to find. You know how Google's usually like, completing that for you?
Right.
It's like, what? No, we don't know anything about this. 8 episodes, maybe 10 million, created and written by James Gunn, starring John Cena, Danielle Brooks, Freddie Stroma. We also have other folks like Jennifer Holland, Steve Agee, and many other folks. We had a lot of folks included in this. Those are some of the top names. And I actually watched a great recap video because I had not seen the series in a couple of weeks. Got to give a shout out to Man of Recaps on YouTube. You guys ever heard of this guy?
No.
He's fantastic. He's got like 300,000 subscribers, and his videos are super simple. Him like overlaid on front of some footage from the show or movie, and I watched a recap video in like 6 minutes, and he did an excellent job. Really helped me kind of play catch up with what's going on. Before I go any further, let's look at you, Giggler, do a gut check. Coming off the Suicide Squad, watching these episodes, how excited were you? And then after the show ended, how'd you feel?
Oh, that just says it all about how good the show was. That like when this premise came out and it was announced, like John Cena, James Gunn, I'm in. Like that's 100% gonna be a home run. Like that's a match made in heaven. So the fact that this show was so good that I still like enjoyed all the characters in the show for basically the entire time and still enjoyed it, might be one of my favorite shows that we've talked about. That says a lot for sure. So
that's a hell of an opening.
Yeah.
Can't wait to get your rating and talk about the story in depth. Scotty Scoop, going into it, coming out, what was your experience like at a top level?
I remember hearing that the show was greenlit, I think like maybe a day or two before I actually had seen the Suicide Squad movie. And I was like, man, they must really have something that they thought was going to be good, and it was great.
Mm-hmm.
I had so much fun. Of course, I'm watching it episode weekly.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I never got bored.
Yeah.
Or felt like it was stale.
Yeah, you came back each week, and it was like,
yeah,
all right, let's go.
And I was like, man, I can't, every Thursday.
Yeah,
I think it was Thursdays.
We ended up binging it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we watched the first couple, and I was in.
It dropped the first 3.
Exactly, and then I was so in, Carrie and I, that we were like, I was like, listen, this is good. Let's just wait. Like, cause like at that point, I already knew I liked it. I just want to wait until the end, and we'd watch it in a day.
Wow.
And I mean, you talk about one of the best days ever.
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing, guys. We loved it. We can't wait to get into the specifics on the story. We're going to break it down. Season 1, we're not going episode by episode. We're just going to talk about the story overall, quick recap, and then some reviews, some ratings, like we always do. I wanted to say, though, how did it do out there in the real world, like in terms of viewership? We're trying to give you an idea of how many people are watching these things. So according to an article from Business Insider, the series, which is a spinoff of The Suicide Squad, of course, was created by the movie's director, James Gunn, was the most in-demand original streaming TV series in the world as of January 22nd, according to the data firm Parrot Analytics. And they quoted it to say it was 69.5 times more in demand than average series on the streaming platform, which is like, it seems like every time I look up these things, they're different metrics.
It's like they make up their own metrics.
It's like 500 million people watch this.
Right.
2 million households.
Right.
This show's 69 times better than other shows. Like, what happened to just like the box? I guess they can't do box office anymore.
They don't have it.
The streaming is just different. But we know that in the circles of DC, and I want to ask you, I don't think Shannon watched this with you, right?
No, she did.
Stephanie
not.
watched this?
Oh, yeah.
Liked it, loved it?
Mhm.
Carrie
Loved it.
too? It seems like it's
yeah.
like hitting a wide audience. And we have some really fun stuff to highlight, including a really fun interview pertaining to that catchy ass theme song. The music was absolutely one of the biggest parts. I think most of it was handpicked by James Gunn, including the theme song. But I want to get into the story. Well, we already gave that spoiler alert. Let's go ahead and get into it right away. And this movie, or this show, picks right up after the movie, The Suicide Squad. I mean, right away.
Yeah.
We already gave spoiler alert for The Suicide Squad. Where does it wrap up for Peacemaker? He gets shot in the neck by
Bloodsport.
Bloodsport. He ends up surviving.
Only if you watch the end credit scene.
Only if you watch the end credit scene. That's a really fair point.
Yeah.
You got to watch the end credit scene.
Yeah. So many people just get up and walk out of the movie.
And then they're like, there's a show
Can't do
called
it.
Peacemaker. And they're like, yeah, but he's dead.
He died. I saw the movie.
and he can't. What happened in the movie? Just kind of for Peacemaker storytelling purposes, he was the undercover mole for Amanda Waller. He killed Rick Flag to keep the government secret about the big starfish away from everybody. Because again, Peacemaker, what's his thing that we learned in the Suicide Squad?
He'll do anything for peace.
He'll do anything for peace. And I got to give a parental discretion right now. This is a hard R TV show. We are going to be talking about stuff that might be not too kid-friendly. We're at least going to be repeating some cuss words and whatnot. But overall, we'll still kind of keep it as clean as we can. But the show is a hard R. I don't think you were watching this with your kids, were you, Scott?
No, absolutely not.
I'm just thinking about like that first episode.
Yeah,
oh,
it got pretty wild.
Oh, my God. Yeah, if you think
John
Yeah.
Cena dancing in his underwear.
Oh, yeah, and what he was doing right before he danced in his underwear.
Correct.
Like if
And after.
Yeah. All right, let's get into it. So he is in the hospital. At the end of the Suicide Squad, the end credit scene is like the Task Force X control group, Amanda Waller's team. A couple of them kind of come and visit him in the hospital, and it's like, okay, this is where they're going to pick up. And that's exactly what happens in season 1. Apparently, Peacemaker, his full name is Chris Smith. He's been there for 5 months.
Yeah, for a while.
Been there for a while, and he has been like doing rehab, and they tell him, you're good to go. He finds out he can leave. He can go home. He's like, okay. He's like, I guess I can just leave the hospital. Pulls a janitor to the side and has like a really funny interaction in the first 10 minutes of the series where John Cena is just like kind of painting the picture of like what this show's going to be. And it's this character in full force saying like, I'm going to go try to live my life, be Peacemaker. I'm free. I'm no longer in prison. And I'm just going to go try and get home, which where does he live? An American flag trailer park in what? Do we know what state we're in?
I think it was like, was it Ohio?
It's definitely like a Midwestern.
Yeah, definitely Midwestern. I like the where he took the cab, and he was trying to pay the cab with the foreign money from the place where he was
in
the
Suicide Squad,
and ended up having to give up his helmet.
Yes,
to pay the cab driver.
Yes. Yeah. And you're like, oh, wow. So this guy, the helmet is as part of his outfit as anything
Starting
else.
from scratch.
And I'm just going to start over. Get rid of the helmet. He's at his house. He thinks maybe he got away with it, but pretty quickly he learns like the Amanda Waller task force is not done with him. And I'm really going to need the Giggler's help probably with a lot of these names, but we have a few people. We have Jennifer Holland's character. That's Amelia Harcourt. She's the blonde. Steve Agee. He's the glasses, Diebeard. We just call him Diebeard.
Yeah.
We got Mern. He's like this guy that's kind of their leader. We end up meeting at a certain point. I don't think we meet him yet, but I think he has like voicemails from Vigilante.
Oh,
yeah.
Like completely blew up his phone while he was in jail and then on his missions.
Yes, exactly. And then
They're best friends.
Then we have, I forget her first name. I think her last name is
Adebayo.
Or maybe that is her first name. And Adebayo is new to this team. She wasn't in the movie, right? Or was she in the Suicide Squad?
No.
That's the whole thing. She's new. She's like kind of showing up, and everybody's kind of like, who is this girl? Well, come to find out, she's also deep undercover.
Yeah.
She's Amanda Waller's daughter. Okay. We also learn that since Peacemaker's out, he's not going to get to be free. He's going to have to work for these guys again. Let's remind you what's going on. What's the Suicide Squad? They put implants of bombs into your head, and then you work for Amanda Waller. You go out and do missions for her. And if you don't do that, they'll blow you up.
Yep.
Well, this thing is still in his head, which means he can still be tracked. He's still got to work for these folks. And there's a global level event, like threat, I should say. I think they might call it national level. And they say, like, you're going to have to help us with this. Don't really know much about what it is, but we learn pretty quickly during a debrief at the diner where a couple things happen. Peacemaker kind of groups up with these people. We learn that they're going to have to go assassinate a governor and his family. And we'll find out why in a minute, but this is the first time we actually meet Vigilante in person. And he's in his, like, off. He's off. He's not Vigilante. He's, like, his regular persona. He's a busboy at the diner.
Right.
Sees Peacemaker. Right? We've already heard the voicemails at this point. But once he finds out that Peacemaker's back, he's so happy. He's so excited. He goes out to the back. This is where we get this is my butt dance. This is my favorite butt dance.
That's why I bought this shirt, because
you got
favorite character in the show, I think.
Vigilante.
Which says a lot
hilarious.
Because I'm a John Cena stan. Like, he's the champ to me forever. So
yeah. Vigilante. I said it before. Vigilante kind of stole the show, man. This guy's hilarious. He's a psycho. So much fun. And so we get the team kind of together. We don't know what the big threat's going to be. But we also, before we get this diner scene, we also meet one more major character that's going to play a major role throughout the whole series, Peacemaker's dad, who is a white redneck supremacist.
Oh, yeah, white
racist,
supremacist.
And hates his son even. He's not a fan of his son. We learn a few things about him pretty quickly. One, he's not just a regular old redneck. He's like a supervillain genius.
Yeah.
He has a quantum type lab in his house that like kind of unfolds on itself when you go in, which was like, I mean, you talk about one of the most jarring scenes of the show.
Yeah. You're like, oh, we're in the Midwest. Oh, we know this character. He's some sort of redneck, idiot, racist. And then like, okay, he like takes the little light switch panel off and just beep, 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 and walks into another dimension.
Basically
an extra dimensional portal.
Exactly. And like it's like a lab is in there. Many types of Peacemaker helmets.
Oh yeah.
Not just
scabies.
one.
There's at least like 12.
Oh, the one that gives you scabies?
Yeah.
That one gives you scabies.
Everybody's got to have scabies at some point.
And do we get his suit yet?
Oh yeah, I think we see his suit.
Which, I mean, let's just get it out of the way.
The white dragon.
This is a white supremacist supervillain that's like
they leaned right into it.
Well, they also like combined a lot of different things. Like this is a complex character.
Yes.
But he's got the white devil horns and basically has like KKK followers that like worship him and love him. And he's just this super villain genius bad guy that happens to be like a racist.
Yeah.
And he also hates his son. He's like, you're pathetic. Well, and like why, let's get into it a little bit. We learn a little bit about, we start getting pieces of Chris's past, right? This was definitely going to be part of this show. You get present day Peacemaker. Well, then you also get flashbacks to his past. And it's like his dad trained him to be a killer, we find out. And we don't find out till much later, but he had a very harsh childhood trauma where his dad and all of his redneck friends were doing like money pit style. Let's get these two kids to fight. Two brothers, just like 12-year-olds, and Peacemaker hits his brother just the wrong way, kills him at the age of like what, 12?
Yeah. Oh yeah, he had to be like 11 or 12.
And like we don't find this out till much later in the series, but I think for storytelling purposes, recapping the series, I mean, you find this out kind of quickly. Yeah, absolutely, because you start to see Chris start to deal with this thing too, because he's his father's son. He's this guy that has becoming, he's got peace no matter what, right? But he's dealing with kind of like, he's starting to like feel bad about killing in the present day. And how do we find this out? Well, they find the governor's family, and they're definitely aliens.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Like they're all sitting around the table, and they have like those tongues come out.
Butterfly tongues.
And that's what they're called, right? They're butterflies. And these things are the things that take over humans' body. Peacemaker can't even kill them in the moment. Vigilante jumps in, pop, pop, pop. Gets ready.
No dove of peace on his gun.
Yeah, every time I draw the dove of peace, it looks like a ghost.
Yeah.
And there's only one butterfly left in this governor's house. Vigilante's about to do it, and this is where we meet Judo Master.
Yes.
Judo Master, this 4'3" green outfit little guy.
Yeah.
I'd have never heard of this in my life. Have you?
Mm-mm.
Scotty?
Another one of the characters that DC bought when they bought the Charlton comics.
You familiar?
No.
This was like, I mean, he's exactly what you think. He's just like this small, I don't want to say karate, judo.
Obviously.
Obviously, right. That's how.
3.
You can tell him a big fighting guy. 3. Big fighting fan over here. You can tell. And actually, what we learned is that the governor, the butterfly that was inside of him was actually like one of the leaders of the butterflies, and his name was Goff. And they actually end up getting the governor. They kill the governor. Peacemaker actually keeps that butterfly like as a pet in a jar.
Yeah.
And we find out these things only eat one thing.
Yeah.
Which is like some kind of yellow goo.
Milk.
It's like milk.
Honey, something,
Exactly.
gooey.
All right, so during this, I feel like I've skipped a lot in episode 1, but remember the girl that he takes home from the bar.
Yeah.
So Peacemaker tries to take home Amelia Harcourt. She's not having it. Like he meets her out after a team mating. He stalks her. He stalked her, followed her to a bar. She's like, get out of here. Finds another girl at the bar, takes her home, and I mean, just adult. This is full hard R in the show. Just these two getting after it,
banging it out,
and just John Cena going crazy,
dancing in his whitey tidies,
and then dancing in his whitey tidies, which is
looking around the apartment, finds the record collection of the the best hits of the 80s, hair metal.
Yeah, and he's just singing. Probably one of the best scenes.
For sure. I was like, when I saw that scene, I was like, I can't believe they got John Cena to do this.
Yes.
I can't believe it.
Yes. And he nails it.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, this girl that he takes home ends up being a butterfly. This is before we meet the other family and whatnot, but that part all kind of blends together a little bit. She ends up trying to kill him in the apartment, brings it like a big knife fight, brutal battle between these two. John Cena flies out the window. She's chasing him down. He got a hold of the helmet that his dad gave him earlier, which happens to be
Sonic Boom.
Activate Sonic Boom. Blows her to hell. Blows the whole parking lot to hell. And because of this, I keep saying Task Force X, but that's what the Suicide Squad is called.
Right.
I don't know what I just always say.
I mean, they're kind of doing their own thing.
Yeah, this is like deep state. They kind of talk about it, right?
Yeah.
This is deep state undercover. Like we're on our own, of course, right? Like if anything goes wrong, and not only will if anything goes wrong, but Amanda Waller's playing the same old games that she played back in Suicide Squad, where she had Peacemaker undercover.
Mm-hmm.
Well, now she's got her daughter planting Peacemaker's diary, a fake
diary
in his house, so that when this all crashes down, he'll go down for like anything that goes wrong. But because there's been a big accident with the Sonic Boom helmet, they actually have to like help cover this up so that like he doesn't like go to jail.
Right.
And Diebeard, do you have his actual name in the show?
Economos.
Say it.
Economos.
That's the other thing. All these names are crazy.
Yeah, it's weird names.
He has the bright idea of let's frame Peacemaker's dad. The White Dragon.
The only one he could think of at the time.
The only person he could think of. Which, like, when John Cena finally finds us out in the 3rd episode, it just goes on one of his, it had to be an improv list.
So good.
Oh, yes.
One person after the other, just naming celebrities and bands and whatnot. But his dad will eventually, be kind of getting on a little revenge path here of like, God, I've already told you how much I hate my son, and now he's like getting me in prison. He's getting upset.
Yeah.
All right, we're like 3 or 4 episodes in. Anything that we're missing from the beginning arc of this character, the story, before we keep going?
Only like the best character of the show,
please.
Eagly.
Oh, duh! When we meet the dad, we meet Eagly. I'll give it up.
The dad's been taking care of Eagly.
Kind of. He's just sitting in the garage.
In the garage, we get a heartwarming meet up and a hug.
An eagle hug.
Got
this straight out of the trailer, but to see
Dad, get my phone.
Get a picture.
He's hugging me.
He's hugging me.
only other thing I think we missed was he pulled that suspicious item out of the girl's apartment. We don't know what it's at the time.
Yeah, at the time.
The glowing little talisman type thing.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And then whenever he gets it in his house later, he meets up with like that girl and that guy that he like kind of held hostage in the room. Like we get that great episode. I think it was probably the second episode where it's right after he explodes the girl. He's trying to get out of the building.
Trying to escape the building.
And Amelia Harcourt and what's her name?
Adebayo.
They like come to rescue him. He's jumping from balcony to balcony, just landing on his body. But yeah, he finds well, we don't know it yet, but it's one of the Butterfly's spaceships.
Spaceship, yeah.
Like at the time, though, what are you thinking?
Right.
Yeah.
Like I was
wasn't
like,
it.
What is that?
Some sort of weapon,
That
or
was
a bomb, or
Yeah.
Okay, so then what happens next here? Looking through the episode list, keeping us as our guide. Peacemaker's dad's in prison. Adebayo like kind of decides kind of quickly. We're starting to see a lot of sides to her, right? She's got not a secret relationship. She's got a regular relationship, but she's kind of like she starts off treating this like a regular job.
right.
She's kind of like, I got to go to work. Why don't you just stay in the hotel nearby?
Mm-hmm.
And then she learns very quickly this is very dangerous.
Yes.
She's like, I'm not cut out for this. Like my mom, Amanda Waller, cutthroat, is telling me to like be manipulative and shady. I just don't really like it. Well, she does it, right? She gets Vigilante to get himself thrown into prison to go kill
the dad.
Peacemaker's dad. Do you guys remember how he gets himself thrown into prison?
No,
All the cops are sitting outside of the prison and they're just like eating lunch. And so it's the slowest scene, which is my favorite thing. He walks back there. Just imagine like being at a park and a picnic, like around like at a park. And like those big outside trash cans. Remember, he just picks it up.
Oh yeah.
And he just throws it into the window of the prison. And they just take him right into the prison.
Take him right in.
Goes in there, gets him fired up, doesn't help at all, actually makes things worse.
He like walks right up to everyone and just starts kicking ass.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Just throwing down shade like your mom jokes and you're a dumb hillbilly and a redneck and an inbred. Talking to the White Dragon and his followers to their face.
Yeah, trying to goad him into a fight.
And he's just sitting there smiling.
Yeah.
Let's just highlight Vigilante for a minute, man. I feel like it's in one of these episodes in the first half where Peacemaker's like really struggling with killing. And he's like, I just don't know if I want to do it anymore.
Yeah.
Vigilante's like, you think I want to kill a bad guy when he robs a store? Or do you think I want to just murder some kid when he does graffiti? You think I like just like stomping in a shoplifter's head? He's like, well, I kind of do.
I kind of like
He's just like a messed up killer. He's all for it.
Yeah, this guy did a great job.
Adrian, I feel like.
Adrian Chase.
Is that the actor's name?
That's
his
name in the show.
Freddie Stroma is
Okay.
the actor's name.
Much better than the Arrowverse adaptation of Vigilante.
Yeah,
Remember that?
This is a very, very different Vigilante than the comics. I can tell you that.
And different than the comics, different than the CW? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Who was...
Well, just much better. I mean, CW, HBO Max.
I think they really pulled
hold on,
like a...
back
That's all
up.
you need to
I'm confused. You're saying that this was a character that was done before?
Yeah, he was on.
he was on.
He was in the Arrowverse. Maybe one of the final couple seasons. That might be why you didn't see it. I think might have been the last one, or maybe the.
Well, that last
one
season gets a
before.
little foggy because there's just so many new characters and stuff.
He had he looks similar.
Yeah.
Okay, got like the
kind of
V.
like the
very that is like classic Vigilante
Yeah.
costume straight from the comics.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. I mean, he looks great too. I
Yeah.
love the outfit. He's also a real badass too. Like he
man,
can do
yeah,
everything. He
for
can
sure.
shoot. He can fight. All right. So moving along, see if we're missing anything else. Peacemaker's really upset about them turning in their dad. They're working on this still.
the kidnapped judo master.
They kidnap Judo Master.
Diebeard.
And he gets loose a couple times, but
And then
one time
they shot him.
they get loose. They
were-
shoot. They shoot.
He was fighting Peacemaker in the parking lot.
a rematch.
Yeah,
and
then
Adebayo.
Leota, I think was her name.
Yeah.
Leota
Abadayo.
And he shoots him, and Peacemaker's like, "You just ruined my rematch."
Right. I had him.
Okay, so they actually find out in one of their team meetings. I think this might have been like around episode 5 or 6. They find out where this milk stuff, where these things like to eat, is being bottled. So they have to go ransack this place where they're bottling all the stuff. They don't know where it's coming from yet, but the general working theory is if these butterflies need to eat this stuff, we find out where that is, and we'll go get them. So they go into this bottling plant. This is where we get the great activate X-ray vision, and he's got the X-ray vision helmet, and he can just see all the butterflies, and he's just shooting one person after the other straight in the head.
So aggressive.
Like just a kind of an intense battle scene. And then the team actually gets kind of in a rough place in the end because you guys remember what comes out of nowhere? A gorilla.
Yeah.
I mean,
big old monkey.
Presumably with one of these butterfly things in it.
I would guess so, yeah.
Yeah, they said it did.
I mean, for a minute, were you guys thinking just for a hot second that it could have Grodd?
I thought it was Grodd.
I thought it was for sure.
I was like, holy crap, it's Grodd.
How do you have a DC show where you're like referencing the Flash and the Justice League all the time? Which Peacemaker's talking about the Justice League as if he knows them. And he's like, Superman, he's got a poop fetish.
Yeah. We got the confirmation that Batmite exists.
Batmite? That's canon.
Now it's canon.
You know about Batmite?
I know about Batmite. He is a being from the 4th dimension.
Mm-hmm.
You know Smallville, so you probably know Mr. Mxyzptlk.
Yes. Oh, yes.
They're the same, from the same place.
They're from the same realm.
So somewhere at some time, there was a little tiny character standing Batman, the Ben Affleck Batman, in this universe.
I mean,
it was really the Ben Affleck one?
But it had to be. I mean,
okay.
This is,
Yeah. That makes
he's
sense.
from this
Is
universe.
it,
okay,
right?
I get it what you're saying.
Yeah. I mean, that part for sure. Like, I mean, whenever that phrase, it was like the Batmite stands Batman. I just had to like pause it on the subtitles and be like, what does this mean?
Yeah.
What does it mean to stand someone? Yeah, so we get a lot of cuts like that. And I'm trying to think as we enter toward the end, we learn.
So
go ahead, Andy.
The cops start to get a little suspicious of
the
fingerprints.
Yeah. Cops are great. You got that guy that plays like the wedding singer in the Hangover movie.
Oh my god. Yeah.
And the woman too was fantastic. But they're all right, so they're catching on to stuff.
Yeah. And then they replace the commissioner. They're starting to do their own vetting of the fingerprints because they realize this is not adding up.
Something's not right.
Yeah. Oh yeah. They were interviewing Peacemaker's dad, and he's like, I didn't do it. Go check the fingerprints.
Yes.
And then all of a sudden they have a new police captain. More suspicion arises.
So we get this new police captain who is a friend of, we find out, Myrn, who's the leader of our group.
Yeah.
Well, then by the end of the episode, Abadayo is like, I'm going to try on the X-ray vision helmet. And she finds out that Myrn is a butterfly.
As a butterfly, yeah.
And then jumping right into the next episode, because it was a cliffhanger, and the next one, not only is he one, he's a good one.
Right.
He has decided it's not okay to take over a planet, even though he gets kind of called out right away of like, well, you took over this guy.
Right.
And then he gives like a pretty powerful speech of like, this mother
guy,
effer.
Yeah, this guy was a piece of crap.
But he said even he could change.
Right.
And this was getting pretty heavy.
Yeah.
Because this is a show about change, if you didn't know that.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Like, this is a journey about every person and where they're coming from and empathizing. And Peacemaker, of course, going through, like, all of the levels of change throughout the episode.
Oh, yeah. He was being just a legit jackass to Diebeard, like, in this episode. Just, like, completely...
So mean.
It hurt me, like...
Just too mean.
Yeah, it was just too much.
But they have like great banter too, where like you can kind of really feel like that team coming together. And after they have that big win against the gorilla, that's where we get like them like jamming out. And
my God. He's got the tattoo of the band on his arm. He's like, I love that band.
And the chainsaw right here.
Oh,
yes, it's nice.
Yeah, and he's like, listen, I wanted to take that chainsaw in, and I mean, it was Diebeard that came in with the chainsaw and killed the gorilla.
That's what I wanted to do.
He had a couple big kills. They gave him some big kills in the show. And then, okay, so I remember now. Vigilante and Peacemaker are on the run because Peacemaker has now become public enemy number one.
Yeah.
Because during them hiding around their house and the cops coming nearby, Vigilante, of course, he slips and falls out of this tree while the cops are raiding Peacemaker's place, and he falls on the jar that Peacemaker was keeping Goff, the head butterfly.
Yeah.
Gets out. Who does it go into? The younger female cop that you've seen in the whole episode, and now Goff is in her body. This is a ripple effect, right? She goes back to the police force and brings all the butterflies with her, takes over the local press, takes over
all the little spaceships.
All the spaceships land in. You finally find out what they kind of are. That's kind of the big reveal. And they get on the TV and they say Peacemaker is public enemy number one. So this is going to obviously make everything a lot harder.
And the diary doesn't help either.
And then the diary was found, the girly little looking diary. I thought that was so funny. He's like, does that look like mine? He's like, it's a pink, sparkly, just nonsense inside.
Had a Wayne Enterprises sticker on the front.
Oh, did it really?
Yeah.
Nice eye, Giggler.
Second time around.
And then you know what the cops do after they do all this? They find Mern. And they kill him.
Yeah.
And that's it. Well, they kill... No, right? Yeah, no, they kill him.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like, not just kill him, but, like, he dies, and then the butterfly comes out, and then Jennifer Holland's character, Amelia Harcourt, like, holds him while he dies. And that's it. So the team's on their own. And at the end of this episode, this is going into... leading up to the big finale, Abadayo is outed, essentially, for turning on Peacemaker, which is Peacemaker gets really upset, but I'm like, you did the same exact thing.
Yeah.
And the Suicide Squad.
Yeah, he's confronted basically.
Exactly.
By his own past.
Yes. So they got a little hump to get over, but at the end of the day, what do they find out in episode 7? That there is this being called the cow, which is exactly what it sounds like. A giant alien that all that juice stuff you've been seeing the whole season, they're farming it from
milking it.
They're just milking it
right out of it.
And that's going to be episode 8, Going to Kill the Cow, the massive big finale. Before we talk about that, because the finale can be this is going to be a discussion in itself, and we'll wrap up the whole story here. Anything that we're missing, Andy? I see you got your notes over here online. Get Scotty Scoop, anything that we're missing from the story that we need to be highlighting?
I think episode 7, is that where we get the big confrontation with the dad?
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course. They wrap this up in episode 7. You're totally right. And so what is the big storyline? So his dad gets out of prison. He gets on the white dragon suit.
Yeah.
And he tells his following, which is essentially the KKK.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
They're not pointed hats. They're square, but they're white.
Yeah.
And it's, I am so tired of my son. I'm going to go kill him.
Yep. I should have killed him a long time ago.
Should have killed him a long time ago. We killed his brother.
Mm-hmm.
He has all of this insane logic. Tracks him down as the squad, the Peacemaker squad and the team are going to go try to find the cow. Well, before they get the chance, they get ransacked. This guy, the White Dragon, this suit can fly.
Yeah, like Iron Man, basically.
He is. He's got blasters.
Yeah.
He punches the truck all the way over. And we get this really intense fight scene back and forth, both of them getting the upper hand, and it all comes down to Peacemaker pointing a gun right at his dad's head, and his dad saying, "You don't have the stones,
you don't
boy.
have the stones.
You never did. You never will." And Peacemaker just going through all the emotions of everything from his dad from day one to what it is now, and makes the decision to end his dad's life.
Bobo Iron Man. That's what I called him.
What'd you call him?
He's Bobo Iron Man.
Bobo Iron Man. It's just crazy looking.
Yeah.
Very scary. This actor, too, just bringing it. Just was like, I'll show up for this.
Yeah, well, he was a Terminator.
Yeah.
Yeah, right?
Right.
His part in the dance, too, is always my favorite.
Yeah.
But John Cena in that scene and just in every emotional scene, he just crushed it. I can't.
Yeah, a lot of, the crying scenes. It's John Cena's this big guy. And I feel like that can go a lot of ways, but he does a really good breakdown emotionally.
And his face exercises.
Yeah, face exercises. Oh man, speaking of face exercises, I love whenever they do. Whenever Judo Master and the governor, before he gets rid of the butterfly out of his body, they have him hostage. Peacemaker and Vigilante, they pull the mask off, and he's just like,
Doesn't know what he looks like.
If I keep moving my face, you can't know what I look like. Rips his toe off.
Oh yeah, he's cutting it halfway through.
That was effed.
And he's like, "Hey, Peacemaker, I just want to tell you, thanks for letting me get tortured last night.
Yeah,
I really appreciate it. Thank you." Yeah. All right. So yeah, kills his dad, makes peace with that. But they still got this cow to go after. I think that's about it.
yeah. I think we're caught up.
All right. Well, we'll think of any more as we get into the finale. This is it. The team is going. The cow is at a big barn. They're able to locate it, and the only thing is they're just kind of shorthanded. They don't have like everything they need, and they're trying to figure out like what to do.
Yeah,
Like kind of in real time. Here's a couple ideas. I got my bag full of my dad's helmets,
right.
which my dad can't track me with anymore. Remember
Yeah.
they tied it to a raccoon?
Yeah.
They just tie it to a raccoon, and they're all just chasing it through
Yes.
the woods. But he's got the bag of helmets, and he tells like everybody, Amelia, Vigilante, Abidio, Diebeard, Eagly, and he's like, okay, we got the anti-gravity, which is just what it sounds like. You float.
Yep.
And while they're talking about it, we learned something pretty specific that like, these aren't just activated by Peacemaker's voice.
Right.
Abidio says like
Activate.
We just say activate anti-gravity helmet, and it just goes boop.
It just floats away.
And once he realizes it, he looks up and it's like 50 feet in the air, and he's like, deactivate anti-gravity helmet. Deactivate. He's like, God damn it.
That was like the part of their plan.
Yeah.
There's someone who's going to put the helmet on and float over and drop the sonic boom helmet into the place.
And then it's like, okay, no problem. We got Eagly.
Right.
I'll just tell Eagly what to do. And Peacemaker tells him, grab this helmet, take it to that barn. And like Eagly does, like they do such a good job with this, CGI eagle.
Yeah.
But like it like looks back, it looks at him.
It's like looking, it looks at the helmet.
And
looks
like he
back.
picks it up, and it's like the music builds up, and John Cena's like, "Go, go, Eagly!" And he's flying right towards it, and just
veers off
hard right, like just like what would happen like in real life, and just drops it.
Yeah.
They're like, "Okay, we got to find this helmet because this is going to be how we get in here at the end of the day, and how we're going to like take this place down." How many charges does this thing have? Abidio says he has like 4 charges.
3 or 4, he said.
3 or 4 charges. That's right. And while they're looking for it, Peacemaker has a little hallucination of his dad, like back again,
Yeah.
like making fun of him.
Yeah,
and
you're worthless.
You're worthless. And what's Peacemaker do? He kills him again, and that's where they end up finding the helmet. So like this is going to be something that like we're probably dealing with like in a season 2 type thing. Like he's dealing with like, I killed my dad.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So where does the plan land? Eagly fell through. We got to send in Diebeard because he's the only one that no one recognizes, and he's just going to go in as a security guard.
Right. You've got a butterfly. Just act normal.
Yes.
Straight.
Mhm.
Don't do anything crazy or react to anything. You're like a zombie.
Yep. And he gets he makes it all the way in.
All the way in.
Then we see the cow. He leaves the helmet down there.
He's like, F no.
I'm not going any
I'm
further.
not doing this.
Just leaves it on the stairs.
Yeah, just drops it and
Kind of-
turns around and leaves. Like, really screws up the plan.
Screws it up. And also, I was like, at this point, that's what you're scared of? Like, you took down
Yeah.
a gorilla with a chainsaw.
Yeah.
On his way out, he gets questioned by the one of the cops. That's
yeah.
now a butterfly. He's like,
No. I think it was the one who didn't have the butterfly. It was the dude.
But
I didn't think he had one.
no, he did though. At
Oh,
the
he
end,
did get
because
one?
they all do. At the end, aren't they all butterflies?
Well, see, I thought he was very suspicious of his partner once.
He was, but then whenever they come, she brings all the butterflies back to the police force, and him included. We're talking about the wedding singer guy from the Hangover,
Yeah.
right?
See, I'm gonna have to rewatch. I really thought he didn't have one.
No, they show it going in him.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and
Oh,
he's
I
one
missed
of
it.
he's one of the rest of the cops. And then whenever they show them on TV, and the girl is like, and the main police chief has now been turned. Peacemaker is public enemy number 1. They're all just standing up there, and he's one of them.
Now, see, I thought
So that's why he's asking him. He's like, "You're human. Why did he dye his beard?" And he tells him, and he's like, "Man, humans are so pathetic."
Like, I really thought that was him, playing off like he was also trying to act like a butterfly.
Gotta rewatch. All
right.
No. Steve Agee's character is the one that's under the gun at that moment.
Right.
And the other guy's like, "I'm a butterfly."
Okay.
And then as he's leaving, he says something that like sets him off. Something that like gives it away. I forget what it was, but they all start running after him.
Yeah.
But here we go. The plan is in motion. Abadiah's got a walkie-talkie. It's hooked up to the helmet. Activate sonic boom. This sets everything off.
Yeah.
Blows the barn. Hits it a couple times. They like drags them all in. Blows them up again. And like thankfully, I guess for the butterflies, this cow thing's like underground.
Yeah.
So you can't like really kill it from the top. The team comes running in, and this is where we get the big fight scene.
Yeah.
I mean, we're gonna get all sorts of things. Peacemaker shield.
Cue the music again.
And it's the theme song. Oh man. And it starts off like real hot, and they're doing all right. He's got the shield. He does some cool moves. He throws up the shield, shoots it with a gun.
That was my favorite.
That was pretty good.
That was so weird, but awesome.
Steve Agee just kind of, Diebeard kind of hanging off on the right. I mean, Amelia Harcourt doing her thing, taking down so many. Abadiah like holding back for a while, and essentially Peacemaker is going to go in and try to take this thing down, and it's up to really Vigilante and Amelia holding down the fort, killing all these butterflies, and this is where the music's like, never gonna, starts slowing down, and it's like things are kind of falling apart.
Yep.
And her and Vigilante, Amelia Harcourt,
taking some shots.
I mean, they're bleeding out, essentially. Like, you're like, oh, she's definitely going to die.
Yeah.
She had a butterfly in her mouth.
Yeah.
Oh, man, yeah. And then Abadiah was like, here I go. I'm going to just do it. Runs in, 2 pistols, and just popping.
Yeah.
She's just popping him, like, in the face. Like, oh, falling back. Shoot one, shoot over here. Like, really good at this.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And what's happening inside, let me know if I'm skipping anything. Inside, Peacemaker is now back face-to-face with Goff. And Goff's like, I saw your kindness whenever you had me in that jar, and it's not what you think. We're here to save humanity.
Right.
Our planet died from use of material.
Basically what you're doing.
What you're doing. Humans are on the same path, and we made a vow that we would stop this no matter how many lives it took, which is
right.
I mean, this is Peacemaker.
Yeah. Oh, she was just reading Peacemaker's mantra right back to him.
Before this, right before, Abadiah sees these two talking, runs in, activate human torpedo. And this is the helmet that is a prototype. And he goes, Abadiah, no! And she flies to the air and just smokes a rock wall.
Yeah.
And so she's down for the count. And this is where we get that big reveal.
Yeah.
They're looking at the cow, and it's like a big decision time where you're like, what's Peacemaker going to do here? This is kind of like following his code. And as she tells him this, and she's holding his face, he just looks at her and says, activate human torpedo. And you look over to the side. There she is again, just kind of wobbling.
Out of it.
Body shield goes over, flies off right through the heart of the cow.
Yeah.
Right into it.
Hilarious.
Nasty.
I'm dying laughing.
Of course.
Like, bloop. Just takes it down, takes down the butterflies. I mean, the plan was for them to teleport this thing. They were trying to teleport it to some other place. They had
we can get it to another place.
They had a teleport machine. DC.
Yeah.
Just fun. Takes it down, takes down the butterflies. I mean, you guys ready?
Yeah.
Comes out.
Did anything else big happen? I don't remember.
Yeah. Steve
he killed Goff.
He killed the body that Goff was in.
Right.
And then he's walking out. They get Amelia Harcourt up. They got Abadiah. They got Diebeard. Vigilante. They're all in rough shape, but they're making it out. I'm trying to see if there's anything big, Andy, before we get to this.
I was just making a joke
No.
because of how big the next thing really is.
And here it is. Here comes the Justice League.
Yeah.
Like, just flying down. Like, you got Superman, Aquaman, The Flash, Wonder Woman. No Batman.
No Batman.
No Cyborg.
No.
And it's the silhouettes, and Peacemaker just says, like, you're too late, dipshits, or whatever he calls them. He's like, they always do this, right? They always show up too late, like, calls them dickheads or something. And you're like, okay, that was pretty cool. Oh, it's not just shadows.
Yeah.
You got a couple.
Yeah.
Jason Momoa and Ezra Miller. So you got Ezra Miller, Flash, Jason Momoa. The Justice League showed up, and Peacemaker tells him, there comes an F word for you guys keeping track. Go fuck a fish. He's like, I'm so tired of that rumor going around. And Barry says something, and
That's not
Not
a
a
rumor.
rumor.
it's not a rumor. And then another F-bomb coming. Jason Momoa, F-bomb, Aquaman. Fuck you, Barry.
Yeah.
And that's the Justice League cameo.
John Cena with the Justice League.
John
It's just
Cena, and like having his
what
moment
I
too of
needed.
like, I did this.
Right.
What I needed in life.
Yeah,
right
what
there.
were you thinking right then?
I got up out of my chair and I just clapped.
Oh my God, you're just pumped. What were you thinking, Scotty?
Yeah, man, I rewound that probably 4 times.
Yeah.
Just like, here they
Yeah,
are.
like, wow, I can't believe they got him.
I'm like, how hard would it have been just to get Cavill? And I mean, I can speak a little bit to this because I did hear the Podly podcast, the companion podcast. James Gunn said that he had to fight for that.
Oh, yeah. Well, and they got him because the Flash movie and the Aquaman movie are filming.
Oh, okay.
And Wonder Woman is not.
Mm-hmm.
And we know Henry Cavill has no contract. So they're not going to get him. And
Yeah.
From what I read, Marvel shot that scene.
Oh yeah, and I
Yeah.
read some more about that too, and apparently it was like because James Gunn being at the middle of this, he had like DC had done something similar for Marvel in a movie.
They had shot,
Guardians, right?
yeah, they had shot some test scenes with the actor who plays Myrn
Yeah.
for the next Guardians of the Galaxy
Mm-hmm.
movie. And so while he was filming Guardians, Marvel let them shoot this scene.
That's pretty cool. It was almost like a we owe ya.
A trade, yeah.
It was a trade.
Trade off.
But I mean, either way, pretty cool just to see the houses like playing together,
Working
like
together,
that,
yeah.
and like James Gunn being kind of the focal point.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Okay, so we see the Justice League. Let's wrap up these characters because I think we already know that season 2 has been confirmed, right? So we're gonna get some setup here. Abigail, what does she decide to do? Does she like what?
She
What?
turns
She
in her
out,
mom.
yeah.
Outs her
She
mom.
outs everything.
That's right. She says, "I'm not going to do any of this, and not only am I not going to work for my mom, I'm going to get on the news and talk about all this." And claims Peacemaker to be a massive hero,
Yeah.
like out in the open, like save the day, and also like all this other stuff was going on.
And Peacemaker calls her his second best friend,
Yeah, he's like,
which is huge. Obviously, she effed him over 2 episodes prior with the whole diary thing. So
yes,
she had a big redemption there for sure. And she went from doing a job that she didn't even want to basically more or less saving the day in the end.
really saving
Finale,
everybody,
Yeah.
like saving everyone. Like
Yeah,
she was
The
like
world.
the world essentially. Yeah, right.
Where like that's what the best part about the show. Just each character has like so much screen time and like such a story that it doesn't take away from like it's still Peacemaker, but like
Yeah, when you care.
yeah.
Amelia Harcourt, she's in the hospital for what, 5 days?
Yeah.
From her injuries. Who's there waiting for her the whole time? Peacemaker.
Yep.
And so, like, this is teasing it. They didn't have like a kiss or anything, right?
I don't think so.
I don't think
No.
so. But like, they're kind of teasing that like there might
Yeah.
be something there.
Yeah.
Which I mean, like, how do you think James Gunn feels about
Yeah,
this?
That's a little weird.
James Gunn,
Well,
and newly
he-
engaged to Jennifer Holland.
He wrote it.
Congrats.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to have John
He's like-
Cena hold
he's-
hands with my
It's like,
fiance.
hey, it's like, hey, this is getting a little weird, James.
Yeah.
You want us to do what?
Right.
Diebeard
Gets his old job back.
gets his right?
That's how I thought it was. I
Yeah.
mean, he was sitting up at a desk and
Yeah, he got like set up at his new gig, which I'm like, who was it for?
well, he was put on this team because of their actions at the end of Suicide Squad.
Right.
Basically blackballed by Amanda Waller. And now without her there, he could probably get back in
Yeah,
with Argus.
yeah. I'm really blanking on that. But
It
you're
could be,
right.
I
It
don't
was
know.
no, you're right. It was just like an Argus job again. Like he's still in the mix. Any other characters before we wrap up Peacemaker? Because he is the last one we see. I'm trying to think if there's any. Oh, Vigilante. Nothing really changed with him. He's just healing, but he's the same old guy.
Was this where he passed out in the hospital and then jumped out the window? Or was that earlier in the season?
I don't know.
I can't remember.
He did what?
He was like trying to act like he wasn't hurt.
Oh
and
yeah.
he passed out in the hospital.
No, you're right.
Was this in the finale?
It was the
yeah.
very end.
And
the
then-
finale. He's just like, "Oh yeah, good job, guys," or something, and he just faints.
And then they show him back in the room, and you see him get out of his hospital bed and jump out the window.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's exactly right. And then, last but not least, of course, Peacemaker, man. He's back home. He's at the trailer. I mean, presumably like just like a free dude and just kind of gonna see. We'll see where he picks up next time, but he's there with actually with Goff.
Yeah.
Butterfly shows back up and drinks. I mean, I saw a tweet from James Gunn about this. The last of the
got
the
a
cow
little bit
milk.
left. Yeah, he saved a little bit.
But like, is it like he's gonna die?
I think so.
I mean,
That's what I thought. Because in my head, I was like, why wouldn't the like Goff try to take over a different human now or something like that?
Yeah.
Well,
But I think
maybe-
it's just like a mutual understanding that she's like that. Goff's like, okay,
I'm
like
not
I'm
gonna
done now.
do
Like
this
I'm
to
not
someone else.
Yeah. When they kind of realize that
exactly.
that they're the same.
And,
Mhm.
and maybe that'll be a plot point for the next season.
Yeah.
right.
What can we find you to eat
Yeah. Right. And like,
to keep you alive?
we'll figure this out.
Yeah.
It's a synthetic version.
We can go find some real cows.
We just have all these other cows.
Yeah.
We have another. He has another. Peacemaker has another vision of his dad.
Yeah,
So like, gonna be around.
that'll be another plot point.
Yep. And I mean, that actor is probably like, cool.
Yeah, sure.
And then last shot we get, Eagly just posing, looking good, just like he does for that title run of the theme song, that catchy theme song. But now here at the end, the last shot of him there at the trailer and close credits. Was there an end credit scene?
There was in every episode.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
that,
yeah.
that was one of the highlights.
But they weren't
of the
like-
show.
Yeah,
It's,
they
Yeah.
just like a goof track.
Right.
You know.
Absolutely. All right, that's Peacemaker, the story. Any other things you guys are thinking of that we didn't miss, or that we did miss? I mean, things that are coming out in my head. I love the team bonding of this, of like seeing how they grow as just kind of like a regular group of people, just sharing experiences.
Yeah.
Kind of like naturally falling, like kind of like with each other. John Cena just dancing so hard in that front seat of that van they drive around and like poking out his lips and just being like,
Yeah.
just his tongue going. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, everything John Cena did in this, I gotta say, John Cena, man, he's definitely born for this. Like, he nailed it.
Perfectly
It
cast.
is the most perfect casting I think I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's got to be going home thinking like, thank goodness, this is so fun. Like, they just want me to play this character.
There's times where I was just kind of forgot that it was a show and it wasn't just John Cena on camera in real life. Like, this is just him doing stuff.
Yeah.
It's perfect.
Well, if we think of any other favorite parts that come up, anything funny, heartfelt, let's do it. But let's do a little round table and do some ratings. I think I went first last time. Let's kick it off with you, Giggler. Talk about some final thoughts, anything you missed in your notes, and let's get a rating from you for season one. Because, I mean, TBD on season 2. I keep like talking about it. Did they confirm it?
Yeah. It's
I think so,
confirmed.
yeah.
Yeah, definitely announced.
All right, tell us about season 1.
The part that I'm just going to throw out there that I forgot about, that was one of the funnier parts. Don't mess with my BFF. He just murks the guy at the very end.
Mm-hmm.
Any Vigilante scene was one of my favorites as well. Like,
yeah.
John Cena, like I said 1,000 times today, I'll watch anything with him in it. Come back to WWE, John. We need you.
Show up as Peacemaker.
Yes, that'd be great.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, like the character development through this was just kind of unexpected. Like everybody on this team I enjoyed. I'm very ready for season 2. Give me more Vigilante. Maybe give me a Vigilante spinoff. Who knows? That'd be fine too. But overall, I'd go with a 3.7.
Yeah, I'll give it up for you.
Wow.
Doesn't get much better than this to me. Like I'd put this on par with any comic book movie, or not
Show,
movie, but
yeah.
a show of that nature. But I mean, it's tough to compare this to movies. But
Yeah.
I enjoyed it so much. Like, one of my favorite things ever. It's great to have a weekly release when you just literally can't wait to turn it on
Yeah.
that day.
Yeah, and just the vibe and the theme and just the music. Just fun.
Yeah, James Gunn killed it. That's exactly what you would expect. Just hilarious, everything that you'd want in a comic book movie overall, for sure.
All right, Scotty Scoop, what you got?
Man, this was so fun. I think all of the characters were just so perfectly cast. Everyone did such a great job. Vigilante stole almost every scene he was in. John Cena with all the one-liners were just hilarious. It was so funny, so well put together. I remember, after watching the Suicide Squad, I was like, really? Like this guy? They're going to do a whole series on this guy?
Right.
And I don't know how I could ever doubted it.
Yeah.
Because it was perfect for what it was.
Mm-hmm.
And it was so James Gunn. They had the team. Every character stood on its own. Everybody had their own kind of arc. Yeah, I loved it. Can't wait for another season. 3.6.
Nice. Yeah, I'll give it up. These are high scores. Yeah, man. This is a win. I mean, Rick Flag, said it in the movie, The Suicide Squad, Peacemaker. What a joke.
Yeah.
And from the get-go, like, I'm not Andy, like, in terms of a John Cena super fan,
right,
or anything.
Stan.
Yeah. Now that another word I know now. Stan. And he really did show up, and the arc from Suicide Squad through these 8 episodes is so good. And the writing here with the pacing, I mean, you have 8 episodes to really explore these, and I mean, you say that. It's not like the number of episodes determines if it's good. James did a really good job giving all of these characters something that you cared about. Like, there's a real feeling of empathy as you watch this show, like, on so many different levels. It's a very diverse show, too.
Yeah.
A wide spectrum of individuals, and also just, like, like, names. Like, this isn't Betty, this is Abidio, and you're going to, like, learn how to say it because it's not hard. And Peacemaker himself, I don't know, like, I talked about, stuff that I've seen lately that's kind of like, I mean, this felt Midwest to me.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, I feel like some of these people,
Yeah.
And you kind of get this thing of, you're going to have assumptions about a lot of these folks in the first 4, and then, like, by the end, they might be true, or they might be totally off-brand. For example, Peacemaker's dad. Like, yeah, you're like, oh, this is just the redneck, hillbilly, racist guy. But he's so much more than that, too, He's this brilliant man, like a scientist that can do all these things. I really was looking at Peacemaker like, that's that guy's dad.
Yeah.
And this origin story, which we knew we would get in the show, right? Like, this is Peacemaker, right? It was like, I'm so glad that they leaned in to the now storytelling, because I'm excited to see where it goes. But you talk about, like, what this did was, this was the origin story for Peacemaker,
right?
And you haven't had such a really convoluted. And he gets asked this, right? He does show and tell at, like, the school for the janitor that you meet in episode 1, and, like, someone asked him, "Do you have an origin story?" And he's like, "Not in the traditional sense, because it's not. Like, I killed my brother in a fist fight because my dad was betting on it with his drunk friends." And making a reason for that as, like, a way to not really even atone for what you did, but more like to adjust and be like, all right, I'm doing these things in my life because I don't think he even realized, he's got to have this reason to do all this killing.
Right.
And that was it. And it's like, when you find this out, it's just, it adds layers. And I hope that, like, when you finish this, you probably, like, if you were like me, I was like, man, what did I just watch? Like, I'm excited to rewatch this, because I think this is some of the best storytelling you've ever seen.
Yeah.
And you look at James Gunn, what he's done with Guardians, and I feel like we saw somebody tweet this out. I think it was a Rug Boy from the Jock and Nerd podcast. He's like, hey, James, just, like, let's get your own characters going.
Yeah.
Like, come up with your own.
You don't need to
canon.
lean on these people anymore. Like, you could do things on your own.
Yeah, you're taking these properties and you're making them into stuff that we care about. Like, what's the James Gunn canon look like?
Right.
And, like, give me that multiverse. But then again,
Gunverse.
Though, like, we're living in the Gunverse, because, like, he's in DC MCU and he's going to keep doing stuff.
Right.
When on earth do we talk about a writer and a director this much when we talk about anything? I think that goes a long way to show you that the quality's there. So I had a great time. And on top of all this, it's a DC property, and we got the Justice League.
Yeah.
And then you get the Justice League.
Thank you, James.
So, that's just a cherry on top. You could not have that, and this score would be the same. I'll give it a solid 3.7.
Beautiful.
What a show.
It really was.
It was great.
All right, man. The music in Peacemaker. God, how good. We do have a guest that'll be in here at some point. Brandon, I know you tried to get here tonight. We love you, buddy, and we'll get you in soon. Hopefully we get you a studio voicemail or something to get you featured on the show sooner
He texted
than
us.
that.
He sent one.
What'd he say?
Voicemail is ready for us.
He said he sent
No,
a
he didn't.
voicemail, yeah.
All right, let's do it.
And I think he said he maxed it out.
Oh, my gosh. Let's just let him do it.
Hello, gentlemen. My name is Brandon Rogalski. I was actually supposed to be there this evening chatting with you guys about Peacemaker. I don't know how long this friggin' message is. I think it is incredible. DC's Deadpool, like if Deadpool made a TV show, I think it'd be very similar to what they're doing with Peacemaker. And guess what? Everyone loves Deadpool. I think James Gunn is an absolute genius. I think that he should just be gifted the entire DC universe. I think that he should just wake up on Christmas morning and DC's like, hey, we got you something. It's us. It's the whole goddamn studio. Do whatever the hell you want all the time. Because we all know he can do super funny stuff, but I'm pretty sure that he can pull off serious as well, and I'd like to even see some of that. But honestly, I'm not even dying to see some of that because all of the crazy humor and everything that he puts into everything, I'm obsessed. So I will go see anything that James Gunn is a part of forever, from Guardians and from obviously Peacemaker, Suicide Squad, all the stuff that he's done. I think it's absolutely freaking incredible. Character development was great. His quick little origin story was pretty good. The only thing I haven't understood, and again, I had too much fun watching the whole thing, I didn't really care, is he seems like less of a superhero than he was in Suicide Squad. Suicide Squad, he's taken out, 100 guys in 2 seconds. And in this, he's getting halfway shit whipped by random people that he goes hand to hand with, including Harcourt, I think, at one point, right? I really dig it. I dig the show. I'm super bummed I couldn't talk about it because I'm pretty sure I would just talk until I was blue in the face because I've enjoyed it so much. Even the friggin', what the hell's the dad's name? I don't even know. What's it, White Dragon? All I've been referring to him as T-1000 this whole time. T-1000 is great at being a complete and total piece of shit. He's great at it. I don't know. I hate him so much. It's pretty easy to do with his dialogue, but God, he sucks. And you want him to suck. That's what you want a bad guy to do. So if he's really...
I think we lost it.
Yep.
That was it.
That was
He
it.
maxed it out.
I think is what it said.
That was it. All right, Brandon, we got you in here. That's how it can work. If you call in here in real time, we'll get you on the show.
Oh, yeah.
It's this is what I've been just listening to the playlist.
Yes.
I found somebody put it together on Spotify. You can find these soundtracks. And out there is also the great theme song, which, surely you were at home, never hitting skip. And this theme song and dance is taking the world by storm. We have actually a very special guest that joined us here on the podcast just before we started. Her name is Katie Goodrich, and she did a diagram of the dance that took the internet by storm and was shared by James Gunn himself. Let's hear from Katie right now. Welcome to Mostly Superheroes, Katie Goodrich. We're so excited to have you. We're highlighting you today on our show with this being our Peacemaker episode. This past week, I bet, has been an exciting week for you, and we are excited to introduce you fans to Katie Goodrich, a designer and illustrator. She started with graphic design, but has now moved into a more user interface and user experience design. Katie, you made this great looking diagram that's on our screen right now. I saw it on your Instagram. Scotty Scoop here actually saw it and shared it into our private Facebook group before we ever knew who you were or anything. A legit share about just look at this thing. We got to get this printed and up in our homes. And then this past week, The piece you created has exploded on the internet. James Gunn himself, a St. Louis legend in his own right, big fan of mostly superheroes, as we all know here on the show.
Yes.
It's kind of an inside joke, but I still think he's a real fan. He shared your diagram out to the masses on his personal Instagram account. And I also have to highlight the choreographer that wrote the dance. That's Charissa-Lee Barton, of course, that did a great job with this Peacemaker Season 1. Can we all agree, fellas, the most intense, awesome, fun theme song we've seen on a TV show in many years? Katie, I'm going to give it up for you right now. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I'm happy to be here. I appreciate it.
Sure, absolutely. Katie, first up, I got a few questions for you. Let's open with this. What has the last week been like for you?
It's been wild. I had actually a friend was like, hey, James Gunn just shared like some artist's work. You should tag him. And I was like, yeah, right. Why? Like he won't, but he did. I tagged him in a comment. Previously, the choreographer Carissa had reached out and thanked me, which blew my mind. I was astounded by that, said thank you, how much it meant to me. She responded. Again, didn't expect that. And then one morning I woke up and I saw on my feed that like James Gunn liked your stuff. And I was just like, well, I don't need to accomplish anything else today. My day is complete. I guess I should get up and do stuff, but I didn't. Like I was done. The whole week was successful.
Kick your feet up. Time to relax. James Gunn just shared my work. I'm feeling pretty. I'm feeling pretty solid. We have had. Don't want to brag. He's actually pinned a comment of ours on a post before, and that was you. I called my parents. You know, like it was a big day over here at the house. So I understand where you're coming from. So I have to assume, Katie, that you're a fan of the show Peacemaker, right? You've seen this.
Yes.
You've seen season 1. I wanted to ask, you know, this has got to be one of my first questions, is did you create the diagram after you learned the dance yourself and then you put pen to paper, or did you kind of use your own work the way that we all are? You did the diagram first and then now I can teach myself the dance. Which order, was it chicken or the egg?
Honestly, if you asked me to do the dance now, I would not do it correctly. I just start cracking up after like, you know, this move. I think it was episode 2 or 3 of Peacemaker, just watching the intro, pausing it, rewinding it, watching it again, and laughing so hard. And I was like, you know, it'd be funny if there was like an IKEA catalog of how to do this.
Ah, yes.
And so,
Okay.
yeah, I was drawing like the little IKEA guy, and I was like, no, he should look more like Peacemaker. And that's really where it started. And then just a lot of me giggling and pausing the intro and sketching out what it could look like. And it's still, the song and the dance is not old to me. Like, I don't know how many times I've seen it, but it is still not old. I crack up still.
It comes on and you don't want it to stop.
Yeah.
It came on. We had a St. Louis Mardi Gras this past weekend. A person at a party threw on the song, and no one. I wish I would have had your diagram up on the wall for everyone because everyone thought they kind of knew it. It turns out none of us knew it. So
Nobody.
we all need the help, and it's such a fun dance. I totally agree. So Katie, I've looked at your website and I see like obviously you make fun dance instructional pieces like this, but you have all sorts of work in your portfolio. I had to ask, you know, what type of work do you enjoy doing most, and are you currently working on something that has got you excited?
Yes. So my day job is very like the user experience, user interface. I love that as like a structured day job. So when I do my own like fun work, it's really what brings me joy. And I get very inspired by what other artists are doing out there. There's so much amazing artwork out there. And I enjoy playing around with different techniques. Like one week I'll be very much into like pen and paper. The next I'll try digital. Haven't jumped into painting yet. I don't trust myself there yet, but maybe one day. Right now I'm starting to look at another like silly fan art compilation. I've done a few before. Like you can see on my Instagram post that you guys have pulled up, I'm wearing a BMO-y t-shirt. It's BMO from Adventure Time and Bowie. So I love just combining stuff like that. If it makes me laugh in my head, I want to share it with other people.
One of my favorite pieces you had up on your site was a different variations. Actually, my fiance Carrie brought this up to me. She's a huge fan of yours, by the way, a mutual designer that just has mad respect for your skills. And Jabba the Hutt, but it was variations on the word hut in terms of a rhyme. It seemed like, and you had made all of these different versions of Jabba the Hutt. I know one was like Tut, where it was like an Egyptian look of Jabba the Hutt. Then there was Butt that had some butt cheeks on the back, and there were just so many fun ones just like that. I mean, this is stuff that we need to have in our studio over here.
Thanks. Jabba the Butt was the most popular, which surprised me. Jabba the Donut, I think, is my favorite of the group because he's so colorful. And I really like Jabba the What, but yes.
Yeah, that one's good. The what?
The jokes.
The what, where it's like, what is it? He was like purpley and spots and looked really cool. All right, well, this again is our Peacemaker episode. So whenever we talk about one thing, it's the feature. We call it the meat on the episode. I had to ask you about the show itself. As we get ready to talk about season 1, how did you feel about the series? Did you like it? Did you love it? Were you in between? And what did you like most about it?
This show, I can't wait to rewatch it. Like, I enjoy rewatching things. Like, I'm that kind of person, but I'm trying to give myself time so I don't run out of it again. If that makes sense? Like, I know there's only so many episodes and I want to watch them again and have that joy again. I came in not knowing a whole lot about Peacemaker besides the Suicide Squad movie. I loved it. I think John Cena was the perfect choice. I loved all the characters. The actors are great. It looks like they had a lot of chemistry. Just being able to see like what DC is doing, how they're exploring different options. Like, is it more serious? Are we having more fun with it? Are we loosening the reins? I can't wait for season 2. I don't know how they're going to do it after seeing season 1. And I love the journey they had. Like, I had no idea where it was going. Sorry, my cat just jumped up on me. I tried to like guess what was going to happen because when you get it right, like, it feels so good. I couldn't guess anything. I'm super excited for whatever they have next for us.
Very cool. I think, I don't like to make any assumptions, but after seeing this piece, I had to assume you were a fan. We are too. James Gunn is just making us so proud out here, and not just DC, but also in the MCU and everything he's done over the years. Can't wait to see season 2 come around. Well, outside of Peacemaker, I'd love to hear that you reference the DC Comics, so you're a bit of a nerd, and you'd fit right in with us. We might have you back on the pod at some point. What's something else that you're watching out there, TV, movie-wise? We even highlight books on the show. Whatever's got you jazzed lately, what are you into?
Oh, yes. Right now, well, I'm really excited to see the new Batman movie. Hoping to go see that next week.
Nice.
It's kind of hard to get to theaters right now. Like, I'm just still a little nervous to go back out with COVID. So trying to look at when there's not going to be anyone there and go to an early showing.
Yep.
But like TV watching, apparently I'm on an animation kick. I'm watching like Bob's Burgers, Attack on Titan, My Hero Academia. I can't wait for that to come back.
That's Scotty.
Hero.
Scotty loves My Hero Academia.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. Oh, can you choose a favorite character? I find it very difficult.
I would probably go Todoroki.
Yes.
Yes.
The right answer.
Yeah. I love Froppy. Like, I love Sue. I can't get over Sue. But then it's like, you think of all the other characters like Mr. Iwasawa, and you're like, oh, okay.
Oh,
I just
yeah,
want
for sure.
I'll have a daily favorite, not like a overall favorite.
You just made Scotty Scoop's day. We do a segment called What You Watching, and like that was one of the first titles he brought on the show. Well, who'd you tell me about? A dishwasher kid.
Yeah, I was going to ask.
Washing machine kid.
The washing hero, the laundry hero.
Oh, I would be really sad if that was my power.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. That was, but he knew exactly what to tell me to get me interested. So it's still maybe on the list one day. Okay, well,
it's great. It's so good.
Well, before we let you go, I was gonna absolutely want to hear where people can find you online, give you some shout outs. Giggler, did you have any questions for Katie?
I just want to say thank you for this diagram because I am a terrible dancer to where I can only dance to like the songs where it basically has the directions in the lyrics. So this is very helpful. My first thought seeing this, I was like, I have to learn this dance.
You talking about like the cha-cha?
Yeah, like I just all of them.
Slide.
Like
the
the electric slide?
Every wedding ever.
The one where they tell you what to do?
Yeah. And I'm going to be a fan of your work too. I already followed her on Instagram while we were interviewing because I couldn't wait to see Jabba the Butt. So
Nice.
thank you for that as well.
Thank you. I need to do the rest of the dance. This is just the verse 1. It took a while, so I need to get into the rest of the video.
Yeah, I see people online telling you, like, where's the rest of the song? Oh my gosh.
We need all the
Yeah.
directions.
People just can't be satisfied. I think you've done enough. If you want to stop right now, you can. I know that because I have to tell Carrie that all the time. If you want to stop right now, stop right now. Scotty Scoop, anything for Katie?
Yeah, actually, I got a shout out to that Dalek poster in the background.
Yeah.
Who's your favorite doctor?
Oh, no.
Oh, I don't think you're supposed to ask that.
No, it's a really great question. I can't. It's another thing where I cannot choose. Like,
Yeah, it doesn't want to offend anybody.
What about a top 3?
Top 3. I wish Eccleston had stayed longer. I think he did a great job, but calling it when he did, that's fair. And then I think Tennant and Matt Smith have to tie.
All correct answers.
Yeah.
Katie, you're fitting in way too well over here. I don't hope. How do you feel about podcasts? Would you ever come on a podcast for more long form talk?
I sure would. My one of the bedrooms in our house is set up for a podcast. My husband, that's his entertainment for himself. He runs a podcast as well.
Oh, so you got one of these problems too in your house going on.
Yes, but he's never asked me to be on his. So
Oh man, he's got to get on that. No,
I know.
Well,
No, I'm giving him a hard time. I couldn't keep up. It's a Dungeons and Dragons, and I would just be lost. Like, I love Dungeons and Dragons, but I can't keep up with it.
Yep,
Like, I can't
so
do in the characters because my attention span's too short. I have to just listen and enjoy.
I've been on my current Dungeons and Dragons campaign for 3 years.
That means you're like in the meat of it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow.
The meat.
The meat.
What's the podcast?
Bombarded. It's a musical D&D podcast,
Oh my god.
which is why I will not be on it.
A musical D&D podcast.
Yeah.
I have
they write a new song
100%
each
listened to
episode.
that podcast before.
You've heard it?
Yes.
You've heard the
have?
podcast?
That's awesome.
Yes.
Hey,
That is
Wow.
so great.
you got a real fan over here.
What a
Nice.
world
That's
we live in.
awesome.
All right, Katie, that's a great segue. I know you're on Instagram. I was going to ask you how to say this correctly. I was saying Cadusaurus.
That works. We pronounce it Catosaurus.
Because, like, Katie, obviously.
Yeah.
But besides Cadusaurus, that's Kadusaurus for our listeners. Where else can people find you online or otherwise?
Use that handle for both Twitter and Instagram. And then I have a website, which is my first and last name. So katiegoodrich.com.
Fantastic. Guys, check out Katie, whether it's on her social, at her website. I promise you her work will not let you down. And, of course, if James Gunn agrees, we agree. And, Katie, we can't thank you enough for spending time with us over here on Mostly Superheroes. We're only in our 3rd season, just kicking off. And to have somebody like you that does great work and we could highlight you in a fun way, we just really appreciate your time. And we'd love to have you back on the podcast one day.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. And shout out to your fiance's website.
Oh.
Very cool.
Oh, yes, CarrieClarkDesign.com. She's out there. And, yeah, she's been on her own for about 7 months and is loving it. And websites for designers, she's got an eye for this right now because she's been out there looking around to see what's out there. And yours definitely wowed her. I saw her on it earlier today. Like she was just like scrolling through, and I was like, "Are you still looking at Katie's profile?" She's like, "Yeah, she's got some really fun stuff in here."
That's high praise.
There you go. Well, Katie, thank you so much. We have each other's info. We'll be in touch, and I'll reach out to you. And other than that, be sure to listen to yourself in this episode, and we'll get you back on here sometime.
Awesome. If you guys want to send me your P.O. box or anything, I can send some stickers, maybe some Jabba the Butts.
Okay, so
Whoa.
Katie, stay on. Actually, don't go anywhere. Listener, big thanks to Katie Goodrich, Peacemaker diagram. Go learn that dance and go find her on Instagram. Katie, we'll see you next time. All right, that was Katie. Thanks so much. Can't wait to feature more people like this on the show. Please write into us if you have some fan art, if you have something that you've created about something that you've watched or seen lately, or that you just want to get featured on the show. Write us at mostlysuperheroes.com. We're looking to feature more cool people like Katie Goodrich. Again, follow her on Instagram at Cadusaurus. That's Kadusaurus. You got to check out the Peacemaker diagram. It'll help you learn the dance, plus all of her cool other work out there. And with that, let's talk about what's coming up. Oh, man, that was really fun.
Yeah.
I feel like we knew a lot more than Boba Fett.
Yeah.
I feel like we had way more notes. Andy was laughing a lot more.
We didn't even talk about the first mention of the Green Arrow in the DC universe.
Yeah, so one of the Peacemakers like burns, right?
Yeah.
I was trying to think if I could think of all of them. It was Aquaman F's fish, Superman's got a poop fetish, Wonder Woman like winked at me once.
Yeah, I effed him.
I effed him from across the room.
Yes.
Something about Batman when he was talking to the old neighbor.
Yes.
I can't remember what it was.
And he's like, I'm just trying to make conversation.
Yeah.
I think he just called him a bitch because he doesn't kill people.
Oh, yeah.
And then Green Arrow.
He basically called him out for being we'll go to a brony convention or something like that, which I think I heard was a real thing that like
convention.
Stephen Amell like went to a brony thing. But that's what I wanted to bring this up because this
of a pony.
This is my favorite.
Stephen Amell's like,
somebody on Twitter, Andy Beckbot, BEHBAKHT, said, I have no idea if Stephen Amell watches Peacemaker, but would genuinely love to hear what he thinks of the DCEU's first name dropped of Green Arrow. And Stephen's response, of course, was too busy showing Cena what professional wrestling should actually look like on TV.
oh my gosh. And I guess that's his show, Heels?
Yeah. And he wrestled with
does real
WWE
wrestling.
once.
And
Yeah.
well, of course he does now, right? All right. Well, speaking of DC, you ready to talk about what's coming up?
Yes, please.
Ready for tomorrow?
No.
We're going to see The Batman in theaters. Tomorrow's for us is March. What's tomorrow? 2nd. And we're seeing it at Marcus Theaters, right? Going to Ronnie's. Three Kings.
Maybe. TBD.
You might have some stuff.
Maybe. Just trying to eat healthier during the week.
Well, I'm sure
they have salads there.
Well,
yeah, you're
okay,
right.
yeah.
You're
Listen,
right.
don't bring your sad diet
fried
stuff.
salads.
Never mind. That's just
Are you going to do a 75 hard again?
That's just I'm going to someday, but not anytime soon.
All right, but either way, Matt Reeves, the Batman, Robert Pattinson. We got this trailer. Remember when we first talked about this on the pod? I mean, it was a year ago, I guess.
Wow.
And here it is. The movie's here. It looks so great. The ratings out there. You guys know some off the top of your head?
10 out of 10 from IGN.
10 out of 10. It's looking great. I've seen Chris Killian saying great things about this movie, saying it's basically like a graphic novel on screen. Brandon Davis has seen it, loving it. I like getting some of the feelers. I like those quick little tweets about what people thought, but I don't read too much. I'm excited to see this thing fresh. Just a brand new Batman film.
It feels different. Like the leading up to this, like it's just any MCU movie. Obviously, I'm just ungodly excited for, but like Batman. That's just like that.
Yeah.
Keaton.
Well, and you know what's funny? We were talking about the Bale movies. Me and Carrie were looking at them on Sunday because they pop up. I forget what they're on even nowadays. The Dark Knight trilogy.
They
I
on
think it's on
HBO?
Netflix, either HBO or maybe even Netflix right now. I feel like
Netflix. Yeah, that's on Netflix.
I'm pretty sure. And we were like, "Oh, should we watch this? Get like in the Batman mood." And then we landed on no. We haven't seen a Batman movie in a long time. This will be great to go in fresh and see. So I'm excited
and not have those comparisons fresh in your mind.
Yeah, it's kind of like we've done these before where we've watched similar things, and you're like, I almost wish I didn't. I just want to see what I feel about this movie, and I think we're really good about that. So we're going in level-headed. Scotty, you're going to work it in.
I'm going to get it in. I'll get it in before the next show for sure.
Yeah, and we'll figure that out too.
Yeah.
Even if we got to move dates around, we can figure. Maybe we should just go see it again, all three of us.
Yeah,
because honestly, I'd love to come off of it fresh. But a full review, that is our next episode 3 of season 3, full review of the Batman. We'd love to get you featured before the episode. Let us know if you want to get some fan mail in. If you've seen the movie, tell us what you thought. mostlysuperheroes.com/contact. Write us into the Mostly Superhero Squad Facebook group. If you can get it in before the episode, you'll probably end up in the episode. So write us in. Batman, can't wait. DC just happening right now. All right, guys, that's the episode. A lot that we covered. We had a guest interview. We did the Peacemaker review. You think James Gunn would be proud?
Oh, we'll definitely get some sort of retweet of the episode.
I mean, either a retweet. I mean, he'll maybe like something. Maybe he'll pin our comment again.
Yeah.
I'm just waiting for him to do what he did for Katie and like share our post.
Yeah.
You know, it might be coming.
Yeah.
Like it might be. I mean,
I feel like it.
He's definitely going to at least listen to the whole episode.
absolutely.
Like every second of it. Even Patreon.
And just because we're in coming up and we didn't really talk about anything else, I wanted to highlight that we're now in March. Moon Knight
Wow.
Moon Knight.
is the next MCU title.
29 days.
Are you excited?
I am so excited.
I think he's the most excited out of the three of
Yes.
us.
I think we're going to be.
But you're pretty jazzed. Do we know any episode numbers yet or
I
anything like
think
that?
it's only 6.
6 episodes, Moon Knight, Disney Plus, a darker character, but as far as
Yeah.
we know, this is still like PG-13.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
But I mean, if they
This is-
wanted to,
Could be.
they could,
yeah.
maybe season 2 could
I
be
mean-
like R.
They had to know this was coming.
Right.
So,
Or maybe they're like, hey guys, now we can use those scenes.
yeah. Cut them back in.
Hey, put those F-bombs back.
Yeah.
F yeah.
Just to keep the balance here, man. MCU, DC's happening all the time, and we're coming out with new episodes whenever we have something real to talk about. We're having a lot of fun. New episodes on Monday, everywhere you get podcasts. Watch us on YouTube, Spotify, Facebook. We do have video on Spotify now, so if you're in your Spotify app, just search Mostly Superheroes. You'll find that video link. And Sunday on Patreon, early access, get that pre-show exclusive. Scotty Scoop, let's start with you. A sign-off for the squad.
This was a great episode. I hope everybody enjoyed it. I highlighted this episode was the interview.
Yeah, you guys were. I didn't even
Man.
give you guys the heads up. I was like, hey, by the way, we got a guest tonight dialing in. Yeah, Katie,
Yeah.
man, that was pretty cool.
That was great.
Yeah, well, you guys really hit it off. You had a lot of stuff
Yeah.
in common. The Dungeons and Dragons,
Dungeons and
My
Dragons.
Hero Academia.
Yeah. Talked a little bit about Doctor Who.
Yep.
I'm totally nerded out.
It might be one day where Katie's sitting right there.
Yeah, that would be great.
Or Scott's on their show.
Oh, yeah.
Doing musical.
I'll go
Musical
guest star,
D&D?
yeah, Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah, what's that podcast called again? We have it.
Bombarded.
Yep.
Bombarded.
A musical Dungeons and Dragons podcast that
Yeah.
you've heard.
Yeah.
And this is Katie's husband.
Bizarre.
That is insane.
Such a small
What
world.
a small world. Yeah, I love it.
All right, Giggler, what do you got for the group?
Oh man, who's ready for Batman? I mean, that's all I can think about right now. Peacemaker was so great.
Yep.
Great to talk about with my BFFs.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I'm ready for Batman tomorrow, and I'm been avoiding all the spoilers and stuff, you know, like trying to stay off social media. So when you can finally freely look on there and see what other people think about the actual movie and what happened, then that's what I need.
Yep.
I'm here for that, and I can't wait to talk about that next week.
Yeah, man, I'm with you. I know it's gonna be so exciting. Leaving here tonight, seeing that movie tomorrow, and everything that we just had happen this weekend. I gotta say, Mostly Superheroes, dude. We're having a lot of fun. We've seen a huge uptick in our listenership in the last few days.
Awesome.
We got people showing up that have seen us at events. I'm just gonna say these stickers. We had these stickers all over Mardi Gras.
Really?
Oh yeah, I asked Carrie too. I was like, "How should I do this?" Because it's like crowds of people. I was like, maybe I should like make it rain, which I did a couple times.
Nice.
But I also she was like, you should like handpick your audience. You know, look for Marvel shirts.
Yeah.
So I just go walk around and I was like, you like Marvel movies? You like Marvel movies? Yes. Here's a sticker. So if you end up with one of these black stickers, you can know that was an exclusive one that we just printed this week. And we see you guys flooding in, man. It's so cool to get involved with the community. A lot of stuff happening in our new studio. More guests coming all the time. We'll have more people dialing in. All right, guys, we'll see you next time on Mostly Superheroes. Thanks so much for joining us again. We want to hear from you, and we'll see you next week. Take it easy.